Good morning, students. We are going to continue with the chapter 8, the decline of Mughal Empire. As you know that this chapter is already completed, just we are having the review of it. Okay, we came to know about the causes for the rise, causes causes for the decline of Mughal Empire. Okay, the War of Succession, Aurangzeb policy, weaker successor of Aurangzeb and anti-treasury was the reason for the decline of the Mughal Empire. Now, these topics are not there. Now, from here we will start. The rise of the independent state in the 18th century. What were the states? What were the states? It was the Hyderabad. You will go through. Bengal, you haven't to do the Carnatic. Bengal, Awadh, Mysore, the Rajput kingdom, Punjab, the Marathas, and Marathas. These are there only in this. Please complete the question answers as I know that you have completed it out. Please go through it. 10th, 9th is already completed. Okay, so we are going to start with the next very chapter, which is chapter number 10th, the growth of British power in India. As you know that the British came to India as a company, East India Company, mainly for the trade, but slowly by seeing the weakness of the Indian the ruler, they started to take part in the political matters and slowly they started to capture the empire. Okay, now end of the dual government in Bengal. Clive introduced dual government in Bengal, Bihar and Orissa in 1765 CE. Bengal had now two masters, the Nawab and the Company. That's why it was ruled by the Nawab as well as by the Company, so it is known as a dual government. The evil of the dual government began to manifest itself clear or obvious show itself, the administrative and the economic collapse. If a simple person, just think over, if a single person family, okay, a single family have to give the government a dual, not once, twice tax, then what will be the condition? So same condition was there. Okay, in Bengal, Bihar and Odisha, dual government was there of Nawab and Company. So the administration and the economic collapse. In 1772, the Course of Directors of Company appointed Warren Hastings as a governor of Bengal. In 1773, he was made the Governor General of British Territory in India by the Regulating Act. Act here means law, students. In 1772, Warren Hastings abolished the dual government. So, 1772, okay, he removed the dual government. Bengal was brought under the direct and complete control of the company. The Nawab was deposed and pensioned. Okay, the treasury was shifted to Calcutta from the Murshidabad. Calcutta became the capital of Bengal and later of India. The East India Company, which started initially as a trading company, as I told you earlier, had by 1773 acquired territorial control over Bengal, Bihar, Odisha, Madras and Bombay. The Nawab of Awadh and Karachi were their dependents. However, after 1765, they had to face a stiff opposition from the Marathas, Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan of Mysore, and the Sikh. The East India Company had to subjugate, means what? Forcibly bring under control this power in order to be paramount in India. Now, conquest of Mysore. These are not in the syllabus, but students, so please cut it out. First Anglo-Mysore War, the second Anglo-Mysore War, third Anglo-Mysore War, please cut it out. And here the fourth Anglo-Mysore War is also not in the syllabus. The collapse of Marathas are also not in the syllabus. The first Anglo-Maratha War not in syllabus. The second Anglo-Maratha War not in syllabus. Please cut the Page number 98, all the topics. Causes Maratha failure. First Anglo-Sikh War, please cut it out. Second Anglo-Sikh War, please cut it out. Now, method of expansion. Now, these were the methods. Now, what were the methods? Method of expansion. Apart from the war, several governor-general followed other method to ensure the company supremacy in India. So, what were the policies, or can say what were the method of the British to spread or to expand their empire? So, first was the subsidiary alliances, doctrine of lapse, annexation of Awadh. What was the subsidiary alliances? Subsidiary alliances was introduced by the Lord Wesley, perfected of system of subsidiary alliances to subjugate Indian power without going through the actual war. In this, students, without the war, you have to surrender yourself in front of the British. According to this, any Indian ruler whose security was threatened could enter into a subsidiary alliances. It's a type of agreement. Alliances means what? What are the agreement with the British? The British promised to protect the ruler from external attack and internal attack. So in the subsidiary alliances, if you surrender yourself in front of the British, you are going to be secured from the attack, external and internal attack. This was the promise given by the British to whom? The Indian ruler who will accept the subsidiary alliances. Now, the ruler would. So, what were the matters in this? What was there in this? The ruler would have to accept the supremacy of British in India. The ruler would have to keep and pay for the maintenance of the certain number of British troops. So here, if you are accepting the subsidiary alliances, then the British troop will be there in your state, and whatever the expenses will be there of that troop, you have to bear the thing. Okay, the ruler have to keep and pay for the maintenance of the certain number of British troops who would be permanently placed in the territory of the subsidiary ally. A British resident would be posted in the court of ruler. The Indian ruler was not allowed to employ any European in his service. Now, the ruler would sign any treaty from an alliances without any other power, without the permission of the British resident. This will also be one of the point, that without the permission of the British, you can't sign any type of agreement with any other state. States like Mysore, Hyderabad, Awadh, Rajput and Marathas were forced to accept this alliance after being defeated by the English. Doctrine of lapse. In 1848, Lord Dalhousie arrived in India as a Governor-General. Dalhousie was determined to extend British rule over India. His imperialistic policy was based on the three fundamental principles: the expansion of the territories by war, the occupation of Indian state through the application of doctrine of lapse. Now, here the doctrine of lapse. What is a doctrine of lapse? In this, if a ruler or the king is not having the natural heir, means what? Successor, and if he adopts any of the male as a heir, that time he has to get the consent of the British. If he does not, that time the adopted successor or the adopted heir by the king is going to get only the private property of the king. Okay, students, once again I am repeating that if a king do not have the male heir, okay, the successor, that time if he adopts anyone, that time once again, according to this doctrine, heir adopted without the consent of the company could inherit only the private property of the deceased ruler and not his territory, which would come under the company. Okay, here if he adopts any of the child as his successor, that time, and without the consent of the British, that time that adopted son is going to get only the private property of the king. Now, so who were the main the sufferer for this? then the kingdom would lapse to the British. It would automatically pass into the hand of the British. Satara, Sambalpur, Jhansi, Nagpur was annexed under this policy. The family of the former ruler would be pensioned off. However, Nana Sahib, the adopted son of Peshwa Baji Rao II, was not given a pension. Annexation of Awadh on ground of the maladministration. Maladministration means not administration was not there, means it was on the ground. Which ground they made to annex the Awadh was that the Awadh is not ruled properly. Awadh was occupied in 1856. Nawab Wazid Ali was pensioned off and sent to Calcutta. This antagonized many people working in Awadh court or in Awadh army who was left unemployed. In 1856, the East India Company had brought the whole, it's misprint, under its control. Okay, after this, no war was waged to expand the British Empire any further. Part of the country that were under Indian ruler were effectively under British control. Here, annexation of Awadh. It was said by the Britishers that Awadh is not ruled properly by the king, by the Nawab Wazid Ali. So it should be handed over to whom? The Britishers for the ruling. So by this they took Awadh in their own territory. Who took this? Britishers took this. Okay. Now, factors responsible for the success of the English: lack of unity amongst the Indian ruler, lack of efficient administration in Indian state, superior military resources of company, superior economic resources of company, naval supremacy of the British. The weakness of Indian state was fully exploited by the company. With superior economic and military resources, the company transformed its territory possession into a British Empire of India. Please make the short notes and question answer of it. Any doubt, please ask me.